that's my number one goal right now. Very tricky to get though, because they always take movie stars, but I feel like one of those is coming.
Almost 16, 17 years back with Salman um, in a film
Yes,
called
yes, Marigold.
Marigold. Yes,
It'd be
you
great.
should.
Like, hey, Salman, where are you staying? I'm coming to visit.
Yeah, the address we can give it to you. You can just go. I'm sure you.
Yeah,
It will be
I
a
think he's
great
still. I
visit.
know where his parents live.
Oh, then
I'll
you
go
know
see.
then you know
Yeah,
where
I'll
to
go see
go.
Mama. I'll go to Bandra.
Between Ryan and Peter, who do you root for in a parallel world, in a parallel universe where both these characters are together with Ian?
It feels good to be able to do such bad things without excuse
Yeah,
and just be like, I don't care. And then
yeah,
people start to go, I hate you, but it's kind of funny, and they let you off the hook, and
yeah.
that's
I mean, I think psychologically it's proven that everyone eventually goes for the red flag. How you can see it. It's a red
I
flag.
have this conversation all the time. People are like, but why the red flags? I'm like, because they're moving and they're so exciting. I just want to grab it. Some people just watch love stories because they can't fall in love. We're always yearning for. I, like so many actors, was very, very concerned with making people happy and with pleasing.
Firstly, a huge welcome to India today. I have to tell you that, we have all enjoyed your stint on Yellowstone and as well as Teen Wolf, actually, majorly in India. I want to know, as an actor, what is it that you have perhaps learned about yourself over the years? Because you've been part of so many projects so far. And I feel like I've seen you evolve so much as an actor on screen. But for you personally, what has been the biggest lesson or something that stays with you?
Oh, so this job is interesting because you're constantly playing people that are not you. You're imitating life, right?
Mm,
You're copying humanity. Although you are human, you're trying to do it in a way that is not you because they're not making the show about you. It's not the character you, it's something different.
mm,
So I've learned how to study people, I think, and learn how they do their life. And at the same time, it highlights who I am outside of that. And when they're
mm.
interlaced, you do the work and you have the character. But also, it's helped me mostly understand just myself as a man, living, growing up, getting older by being something that's not me so often. I can see the reflection of who I am actually. And that's in this next chapter of my life who I'm most interested in. Whereas it used to be the characters. Now I'm like, well, who is this guy when he's not doing that? So that's what it's taught me, and that's the journey that I'm on right now.
Wow, I'm already intrigued. So who is Ian when he's not an actor and when he's not
If
working?
you figure it out, let me know. It's really it's challenging because if you grow up, like I said, pretending, you don't go through the normal processes of growth. And this sounds a little dark, but it's not as bad as it sounds. But you don't go through the normal stuff because you're
Yeah,
approaching it from over here. So you have to relearn a lot and really ask yourself a lot of questions about what am I really interested in? What do I really want? What do I care about? That's something I ask myself a lot. What do you really care about? What do you want to
mm,
be doing? What do you want to see when you wake up? Who do you want to be with? How do you want your life to look outside of any kind of work that we've done?
yeah,
And that's exciting. So I'm learning who I love the most and how I want to feel, which is health oriented. I want to feel good and vital and spread that to other people and make them feel the same way.
yeah.
And that's there's a lot of joy there for me. And so I want people to be happy and I want to be happy with them and have a big old group.
Absolutely. While talking to you, I can sense a lot of positive energy already. Because it's amazing how you want to sort of like improve yourself, but at the same time you're weighing on life simultaneously, and that's amazing. But tell me about Yellowstone because the finale season came in and you have been part of it for a longer period, right? What is it that you perhaps what was that bittersweet feeling like when you had to say bid farewell to the show eventually? And what did you take away from Ryan as a character?
It is always sad when you leave your fraternity of friends that have become family over, 7 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And you get accustomed to it. You always know eventually it's going to end, but you really don't think about it because you get one more season. And then when it finally happens, it happens very quickly.
Hmm.
It very abruptly, you're standing there, the lights turn off, you finish your last scene. they're moving on to another location because they have other things to do, and there's no revelry for the moment because it's perpetually moving on with, and it's left you, and everyone has their wrap out, as we call it. It's your last moments, and everyone claps, and that's your final, that's your bow, and then they move the stuff to the next thing, and so it's just that quick, and that's very, it sucks. You're like, whoa, 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 wait, where are you going? And they're like, we're done. It's
Mm.
unceremonious. Um, what I've learned, what I've taken from Ryan is a hopefulness that you can chase the things that you love, and you can be even somewhat naive at times. You don't have to get everything right. You can you could be faithful and loyal and loving, and good guys sometimes do finish first.
Yeah, good. That's an important lesson because seldom do we see that on screen. As a
Yeah.
viewer as well. But when you're part of an ensemble like this, I want to understand how do you sort of approach your character because you know that it has to coexist amongst other characters and yet stand out in your own way. I want to understand your process because you've been part of two great projects which have been ensemble, to say the least, right? But you have always stood out. How, I believe there's an approach that you have.
If I have anything of a method, which I don't consider myself a method actor at all, but what I guess I do is I figure out very basically what I think the character is after. What are they,
Hmm.
what's their driven purpose? What do they want? Why are they
Yes.
here? Why don't they leave the room? There's a reason why they're here. What are they doing? So that's just the base. That's like the rocket engine. So always jumping off from there. Then it's how that's integrated with the ensemble is with the script. And then I read it and reread it and read it. The words on the page are so different than what you see. It's like I have to translate them with the Rosetta Stone. Like, what is happening within these words within the other characters, and how do I fit within what the
Hmm.
writer is writing? And that just becomes a language that you learn how to become fluent in, and then you can see it very quickly. And then if you go from what does my character want? What do they do? What are they after?
Hmm.
With these words and their words, it's like when you're fluent, you don't think about the words, you just speak, and it just is there.
Hmm.
So that's kind of the prep that I do. And then as you get, longer into seasons and years go by, it just gets even easier. But that's really it. I don't go too much too more deeply than that, because you can get in your own way, start
Yeah.
overthinking things and get weird. But you really need to know what your character's about, what they want, and then be true to the words. The writing is really the most important thing.
You're you're actually right. Once you overthink something, then it becomes difficult to kind of get to the center of it eventually. But tell me now
Yeah.
again, when it comes to franchise like Yellowstone and Teen Wolf, is it easier for you to come back to a character which you have already played because you now know where the character is coming from and you know the arc and the journey? Or is it interesting or more exciting for you to play a fresh new character in a new show? Like, what comes easier to you?
I think it has an arc where it's very difficult to do something at the beginning, the onset, because you have a blank canvas and you don't even know what you're going to draw, let alone how.
Yeah.
Once you start and you get the sense of it, you get a feel, then you're ramping up the graph, and then you're accelerating, and it's becoming more natural, and you feel it, and that's fantastic. So when you come back to it, you're adding on to that. There's always an arc like the top of the roller coaster where it can't get any more, and then it has to go down.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
at that point, you're like, start thinking, well, I want to go on another roller coaster ride. So I have to go back and get in line and start at the bottom. So that's the process. So you get a little, I don't want to say bored, but everything has to finish, and then you
Yeah.
start again. It's always a cycle.
It is a cycle eventually. But it's a difficult question for you, perhaps. But between Ryan and Peter, who do you root for in a parallel world, in a parallel universe where both these characters are together with Ian? If you had to pick one between the two, who would you?
I'll say I had more. It's more fun playing Peter because he's a villain, and it feels good to be able to do such bad things without excuse
Yeah.
and just be like, I don't care. And then
Yeah.
people start to go, I hate you, but it's kind of funny, and they let you off the hook, and
Yeah.
that's very rewarding. Ryan, on the other hand, he's very noble and he's righteous and he's good. He's He's not flawless, but he has no badness about him.
Yeah.
And so that's also fun. It's, thank God I get to do both. I really enjoy playing the bad guys. But this one, the physical activity and the scenes that we get to do, it's a whole nother dynamic. So hard to choose, but I guess I would say Peter. I think Peter.
Yeah, I think we always choose the bad guys. We love red
Yeah, and
flags
go back to our
always.
roots.
It's just. I mean, I think psychologically it's proven that everyone eventually goes for the red flag. How you can see it. It's a red
I
flag.
have this conversation all the time. People are like, "But why the red flags?" I'm like, "Because they're moving and they're so exciting. I just want to grab it.
I
Not
completely
going to
get it because
change."
no, because it's like we watch something and eventually we find ourselves rooting for the bad guy, and I'm like, why? But then you're still rooting for them. So I get it.
It's
I
our
get where you're
it's our
coming from.
beautiful, dramatic human nature, and that's why it makes sense. And that's something we can all relate to, no matter what language or culture. We all get that, and we go, yeah. So that combines us as people, which I'm a big fan of.
Absolutely. I think it also comes from a place where you're like, maybe you cannot go to that extent in real life, perhaps because you are sort of bound by moral,
Of
compass,
course,
uh, you
but you
know,
want to taste the thing without having the repercussions, and so that's the audience watches fantasy stories about things they could never do, things they can't be, superhero movies, they don't have powers. Some people just watch love stories because they can't fall in love. We're always yearning for a power of something that we
yeah,
can't hold. Actors are the same way. I want to taste it without having to do it, or I can't do it. So it's the
yeah.
same dynamic. That's why movies are so powerful. The fantasy is big time.
Absolutely. But does it, I mean, as an actor, do you still need a reason, at least in the back of your mind? Because it's not necessarily the audience should know that. But before you're playing, for example, like Peter, do you need to know where he's coming from to react or perform in a certain way? Because a lot of times actors have told me that even though the audience does not know, there's always a reason behind why a person is the way they are.
I I go minimally into the super deep backstory of, years and years gone by. Some actors really like to spend a lot of
Do
time
that.
cultivating
Hmm.
that. Not my favorite thing, but we do have what we call the moment before a scene that you don't see. It's the very recent past
Right.
before our characters, doing something, and that is very important. And we just call it, where are you coming from? Like, what's the moment right before? Where have you just been? And that's so immediate that definitely, I mean, right before the camera rolls and they say action, that's like that's the pumping in of that jumping off point. So yes in the short term, no in the long term.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. It's easy
Mhm.
to keep it simple eventually, I guess. That is
Yeah,
what
because
it is.
just then, like we talked about earlier, I will overthink it if I go, oh, well, what was his childhood like, and what was this? Then I
Hmm.
start spinning wheels over there, and that's it. Just for me, it's not germane to the scene that I'm about to do. But
Right.
I've never won an Oscar, and a lot of Oscar winners say that that's how they do
I mean, you will. There's still a long road ahead.
it.
Come on. I mean,
Maybe.
we just had so many other actors who won their first award in like after spending 2 decades, almost 3 decades in the industry. So,
Yeah, I'm on my third decade. It's crazy. We just had the Golden Globes last night. You can see a lot of people that and their speeches, how long they've toiled and what it's all about. Not that it's about awards. I'm not interested in that, but um, just the process and how long it takes is still, it's still laid out there for you.
Ian, we are rooting for you one day for
Thank
sure.
you. I appreciate that.
One day for sure. I mean, I will see, and then I will send Angela a text saying that, can you just remind Ian? I had told him
Yes.
that, listen, I was rooting for you. but
Thank you.
as an actor, I want to understand because you've spent so many, so like you said, you're in your third decade now. And the process perhaps has changed over the years because, like, you know exactly how you want to do a certain character now. When did that change happen for you, or were there projects which helped you bring that change?
I think before Teen Wolf, I, like so many actors, was very, very concerned with making people happy and with pleasing.
Hmm.
Am I doing it right? Do you like me? And that's you can't help it when you start. It's very dangerous ultimately. And then once I got established in Teen Wolf and established Peter, and I knew that he was what they liked, then I knew that I was in the driver's seat doing Peter. And
Hmm.
really, no one knows him or knows how to do him better than I do. So while we
Right.
do collaborate and there's notes and directors want to do things and writers want to do things, and that's fine. We could do that. But that the confidence of I don't need the approval anymore. Just doing the work is there and it's good. And that's what
Yeah.
I want to do. That's when I detached from that and I trusted myself. And that's when I started to enjoy the work more than ever because I
Mm.
was making my own thing. If
Right.
you are a sculptor, you want to sculpt your thing. You don't want someone saying, chisel this way or take that little piece off, and you'd be like, I'm doing it. Thank you.
Mm.
And that is very cool. So that job gave me the platform
Mm.
to go, I know what I'm doing. And then Yellowstone was very easy. I just put all the pieces in the corresponding shape holes, and I'm like, yep, I got that. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. But because this industry is so competitive in general, like be it in Hollywood or even in India, right? And it's also it's also an industry which tests your patience a lot. Like you would have to wait for the teen wolf to be able to show or to command or to know that to have that confidence in your craft. Not that you did not have it earlier, but it just adds to that confidence, right? Um, what is that
Yes.
process like? If I may ask, like just that wait, that patience to know that it will come eventually. What is that like
Um,
for you?
it's it's really it's awful, the rejection, and that you try so hard to deliver what you think they're asking for, and it's every job is different. So
Mm.
you may do, you may learn a lesson and get really close and not get a job, and then you get the feedback and you try to process it and you're like, okay, okay. And then you sort of take that to the next audition or what have you, but they want something slightly different. It's always a moving circle.
Yeah,
And so you can never hit it again. And you're chasing your tail.
yeah,
And at some point you stop moving and the circle winds up on your number instead of you spinning the wheel. And then you don't ever move, you just do your thing for whatever the project is, and you know that the wheel is going to line up on your number. And
yeah,
then you let it go, and you truly have to believe this could take forever, or I could be successful when I'm 60. Um, and a manager of mine said something to me long, long ago. He said, "You're going to get everything that you want, but it's not going to look anything like you think it will." And I was like, "Oh my God, what does that mean?"
mm,
And he's absolutely right.
yeah,
I've everything I ever wished for, I got. But I'm like, "Huh, now what?"
yeah,
And as you give up that process of thinking I have to achieve or there's some metric for success, or like
yeah,
I made it. Once you give that up, then you start to be at peace. And that's what I'm chasing more than anything right now is peacefulness. And it has nothing to do with work, or you can get a really great job and you'll be over the moon excited, jumping around, euphoric.
mm.
And then it's like the balloon goes, you're like, oh man, always come back to that baseline. And so for me, elevating that baseline of peace is everything. But yeah, from when I was 19 to 28 was dark days.
Mm.
Those are the dark days. And then but you just don't stop. You like, I know if I don't quit that I will do all right. And
Yeah,
it's attrition. Most people just quit because they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Let
yeah.
me out of jail. And I was like, well, I have to stay here until I finish. And so I guess I got lucky.
I would not just attribute it to luck. It's also the determination and perseverance because I know it takes a lot to keep
Yeah.
going despite all the hurdles. And it's also surreal to me that you're talking about this because this is the lesson that I learned last month. In fact, that life is transient. That you will eventually. I mean, you think that this is the big thing that you want, but eventually, when it happens, you're happy for 5 minutes and then you move on. And I think it's a big
Yeah.
lesson. It's a big lesson that we.
Absolutely. And you have to have those ups and downs, and there are so many in Hollywood and this particular industry. Just banging off the ceiling, then picking yourself up off the floor, and then the peaks and the valleys start to come together. And so for me now, it's a bit more of the peaceful base, and so that I like.
Yeah,
It's taken me a while, but I'm trying to go from there. But it is a hard lesson, and it's one that the young people just you have to do it. You
yeah.
can't you can't tell them how it goes. They have to go through the whole process. And I see some of my younger friends like going, "Oh, I think I get what you're talking about now," and I'm like, Welcome, brother. I'm so happy to see you here.
No, and I think also when you hit your 30s or you're close to 30s, when you kind of understand this more so, because I just hit 30 and I'm like, listen, I feel like now I look at life in a different way completely, and I
Yeah,
get
it
where you're
changes
coming
your
from.
perspective. You can
Yeah,
still drive just as hard and be motivated. Just your course is corrected a little bit, and then it's just a little different. Um, but yeah,
absolutely.
congratulations. 30 is fantastic for,
I don't
women
know
are
about
just, they're
that,
so
but
one. I do. I can tell you, it's marvelous. You've just begun. You're in your wheelhouse of your ultimate feminine greatness is right now.
wow, I'm gonna just take you up for that because I need that affirmations right
I'm
now.
telling you,
But
it is.
but Ian, I'm curious. I've obviously seen you play variety of characters, uh, from extreme gray shades to, like you said, the noblest of guy. But what is it that you really want to do next? Like you are really hoping that someone could see that in you and offer you a role, which is a lifetime opportunity, perhaps.
I am very interested in highly psychological characters that don't do a lot,
Hmm.
but that have this mental chess game going on in their heads with other characters. And maybe that's a bit over dramatic. But to me, those moments and the connection with the other actor, if
Hmm.
you're doing the same thing, that kind of mental dance is, and I don't know what exactly that might be. It's just that's what I think about. As far as genre wise, I do love action and adventure. I love the Bond movies. I love Mission Impossible films. I love physicality. Always
Hmm.
interested in using the body as well. So I'd love to get into some new franchise where we're doing that. Um, and I'm dying to do a biopic about some historical figure, either, some
Wow.
obscure musician or, Jack Kerouac or a writer or a politician, someone that you can really delve. So this is when you delve into that past of a
Hmm.
of a of a real, biographical person. Then you can live their life. That would be number one. Playing either doing a biopic about a musician or maybe a politician or just someone incredible from the past. That's my number one goal right now. Very tricky to get though, because they always take movie stars, but I feel like one of those is coming.
You are a movie star. Why will we even look at it
Technically,
like that? I mean,
you are not wrong.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
play the
I mean,
president,
why
damn it.
I mean, why do we have these barometers? I always have a problem with putting actors into boxes because everyone is a star in their own right, is what I believe. Uh,
Correct, correct.
and I am going to tell you, don't sell yourself short by saying that. They always, next up is you. You will get that offer eventually. You
Absolutely,
know.
absolutely.
But I think you were part of crossovers. I mean, crossovers today is a thing where you can have any actor from any part of the world coming in and doing a film in Hollywood, or them coming to perhaps India and doing something. You did it long back, 15 years back. 15, no, almost 16, 17 years back with Salman, in a film
Yes,
called
yes, Marigold.
Marigold. Yes. Tell me
Hmm.
a bit about that. What was that like? And I mean, just to have that crossover back then, what was the thought behind it?
So it was a hybrid film. It was a Hollywood film uh, that that was half Bollywood because we had many
Yeah.
musical numbers, and the other half of it was, sort of a romantic, rom-com, and it was
Hmm.
just integrated. Our director just loved the genre. He had seen every Bollywood film and was just enamored with it and wanted to blend the East and the West together. So he had a relationship with Salman, and he presented the script. And Salman said, "Yeah, this sounds great. I want to do it." He can do
Yeah.
anything he wants, but it was so charming and authentic that he said yes. So they had auditions for my character, which, it's a love story between, the
Yeah.
Western blonde-haired girl and, she meets him and they eventually fall in love.
Yeah.
And I'm her ex-boyfriend or current boyfriend that comes looking for her as she's trekking through India, right? And I'm the fish out of water. She becomes, very at home in her space, and I'm this guy
Yeah.
that you're like, what are you doing here? But he's very funny and he's
Yeah.
charming, and he, you give him a pass. And so it was an incredibly good time. I made great friends, and I'm so happy that I got a chance to come to your country and be there and see it,
Yeah.
from the ground up. It's fantastic.
Was that the last time you came to India? Have you not visited us since then?
Um, it's been 10 years. As a matter of fact, I was looking at my passport the other day and my visa just expired. So they last 10 years. So I got to go to the consulate to get a new one so I can come back
You
and
should.
do a trip this year. It'd be
You
great.
should.
Like, hey, Salman, where are you staying? I'm coming to visit.
Yeah, the address we can give it to you. You can just go. I'm sure you.
Yeah,
It will be
I
a
think
great
I
visit.
know where his parents live.
Oh, then
I'll
you
go
know
see,
where, then you know
yeah,
where
I'll
to
go see
go.
Mama. I'll go to Bandra.
Yeah, of course. Bandra is the shiz here. Like that's the place you have to be in. But tell me,
I know.
what is? How do you look at this prospect, though? I mean, back then it was 1 in 100 projects that you would find meets West kind of a concept. But today it's become much more common with OTT coming into picture, and of course, a lot more people are now open to. And Hollywood has become more versatile, is what I feel. Like they're open, they've
Hmm.
become more inclusive. How do you look at that? Do you see a change in that prospect?
I do. There is an unlimited amount of talent out there that's undiscovered. There are
Hmm.
locations that is still yet to be filmed in. There's cultural phenomenons that people want to see, and we scratch this itch on TikTok and Instagram. We can
Hmm.
touch uh, exotic life,
Yeah,
and film is supposed to take that and then blow it up into the macro or the meta, so that everyone can understand it and really be inside it like a dream. So of course, we're not going to make, domestic films. That's fun to do some, whatever dramatic movie in a winter Chicago setting. But how about let's go to Goa and see them and put our people all together and,
mm,
toss the salad. Like that's how we connect people. Obviously, there's money to be made. It's exciting
yeah.
to watch. I mean, there's just the sky is the limit. I love filming outside of the US. I'm just like I got my bags packed all the time. I'm like, take me somewhere. So, anytime I have a chance, if it's filming out of the US, I'm already immediately interested, and I hope that that doesn't stop.
Yeah, and let's make that happen. I feel like it's time for you to do another Hollywood meets Bollywood film, or maybe a
I
Bollywood
think
film in
so.
general.
I think that it's there's a lot of things upcoming, and this is going to be a very exciting year with the projects that we have in line.
So, can you tell me, on a parting note, what kind of project can we look forward to when it comes to Ian now?
I'm going to remain in Taylor Sheridan's universe. He's got a lot going on, so we are going to shoot some stuff this year and be part of some of his other work. So that's exciting. I
Right.
do have a little bit of time off, and there's a Christmas movie we were going to try to make if the snow ever comes to the west in New Mexico. But hopefully
Hmm.
we'll get that done, and that'll be out for next Christmas. And then there's some time to look at some other projects before we get into the season in September. So
Okay.
there's gonna be busy here.
Great. As long as it's busy and you find time to
Yes.
sort of spend time with family and we find that balance, I
Yeah,
think it's a
it's a
great one.
balance. Absolutely. I've gotten really good at balancing. Sometimes I lose my mind and pull my hair out, but I can I can set and then reset and go. And it's a cycle. And sometimes it's very difficult, these long road trips, but it's very rewarding. I'm kind of built for it. I'm an on the road kind of guy, and it works for me. So I'm going to keep it up.
Please do keep it up because we love watching you on screen, but also
Thanks.
seeing you enjoy your life off screen. Thank you so much, Ian. It was lovely, genuinely lovely speaking to you. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. I look forward to meeting you. And next time I'm in town, I'm going to look you up and say
Yes,
hello.
in Bandra. In Bandra.
Yeah.
We'll meet in Bandra. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yes, indeed.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.